Should cinema be an escape?
Hopefully it can be both, because there's certain times when you just want to watch something to zone out and forget everything and have that escape. But I also think films have this incredible power to transform lives and change the world in so many ways. And so if films were all just kind of fluff and escapism, I don't think films would be doing that change. So I think it's always going to be important to have films that have a deeper meaning or an important message, whether that's a documentary or a narrative. So I think the best case scenario is that the world, Hollywood, keeps producing all kinds of movies, because we all need to see everything, depending on what our mood is. My personal worry is that some people will start to only want to watch that escapism. They'll only want to watch the stuff that'll feel safe and make them feel good, and won't ever venture outside of that to see new, fresh things that might actually really challenge them and surprise them. So I think that's the good and bad of things like the streaming is that you could access anything. I just worry that sometimes people will take the easy route and just watch the things they know that they'll like and enjoy. So I hope that there'll be more ways to kind of curate and get people excited about some of the new stuff, because I think I have the same problem. Sometimes I just want to watch a safe, fun movie when I'm feeling down or whatever. But I know that whenever I do watch that movie that I've never seen and just totally shocks me and grabs me, that I always feel so thrilled afterwards, And so I think, hopefully films can kind of do both.
What are a few films that if you had a film class you would show that maybe it's not the metaverse of film where you can just put on something and feel good, but it's something that's actually going to make you think, maybe shake you up a little bit?
I mean, just some of my favorite films are I like a lot of classic movies. I really like Hitchcock films. Rear Window, Psycho are probably two of my favorite films. I think I was talking earlier about To Kill a Mockingbird, which I saw when I was a little kid. Has had this huge impact on me. A movie like Amelie, I saw when I was in high school and just starting to kind of really come together as a filmmaker, and that was super inspiring to me. I love documentaries. I think it's really about kind of that diversity of types of films. I don't just like one kind of movie. I just think it's fun to kind of experience lots of different kind of films, and even as a filmmaker, it just gives you so much inspiration. I mean, I can get inspiration from a documentary just as much as I can a narrative film, And I love watching all kinds of films, but I definitely think that in general, we're starting to maybe lose that appreciation for really good quality movies and the classics and things like that. So I hope that the average person will kind of lean more into that and remember that there is really good stuff out there, especially a younger generation. I feel like that didn't grow up with those really classic movies maybe isn't going to go find those necessarily on their own. So I hope there continues to be a revival for those, and people will kind of seek out that good stuff, because there's also a lot of crap made, too, unfortunately. But let's hope that that's not just the only thing there is in the future.
Can you give us an argument why today is the best era of filmmaking that has ever existed?
Well, I mean, I can't say for sure on the creative side if the best films ever are coming out today, but I think as a filmmaker today could probably be one of the best eras, just in terms of the opportunities that are out there. So, now more than ever, there's more places for your film to go and people buying films. It's still incredibly hard to get a film made, nearly impossible. I mean, I feel like I won the lottery by getting to make this movie, and it takes a lot of work and good talent and a lot of luck. But it's not like it used to be where there's only a couple films made a year. There is a lot of ways to get a film made, and maybe it won't even be a film. Maybe it'll be a TV show or some other kind of platform. But there's a lot of opportunities. I'm a little scared, but also really hopeful for the future in terms of the opportunities. It might look a lot different than it is right now, but I'm hopeful that there'll be a lot more opportunities ahead for me personally, at least, to make more good stories and entertain people.
Okay. Do you think today is the best era? Or were there other eras where maybe they couldn't say as much, but the storytelling was richer?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a film historian, so it's hard for me to say, is this the best era compared to something else? But I mean, a lot of my favorite films are not from this era. They are older, more classic movies. I mean, a lot of those movies have problems. They're not perfect either, right? But um, I do think there was a lot of attention to the story and trying to make an actually compelling kind of deeper meaning to some of those films. But I mean, there's obviously still incredible movies being made right now, especially in the independent space. You know, there's just so much more opportunities, more financing, more places to show the film. So um, I think it's a great time for being a filmmaker and being an audience member. I think the biggest challenge is just trying to weed through all the things that are out there and find those films. You know, that's probably the biggest challenge right now.
Do you ever secretly wish you could have been maybe born a few decades earlier, so you could have been a filmmaker in the 70s or what? I mean,
Sometimes I guess you could fantasize about that maybe there was less people trying to do it. Maybe it would have been easier if you had been a passionate filmmaker back in the day, for sure. But who knows, right? I mean, it's you never know what's the best route or how it would have worked. But I do think though that from my brief experiences that things do feel more closed off than they did in the past. You know, I feel like you hear these stories about, I don't know, Steven Spielberg walking on the Universal lot, you know, and just getting to kind of explore them while they're making, no one's stopping him, no security, right? Getting to meet someone or things like that. Whereas it's now, how can you even get your script to someone? You know, I do feel like there's a lot of gatekeepers and a lot of, because so many people want this, you know, there's also just a lot of wall put up in terms of trying to keep people out. And of course, the studios are trying to do more to encourage more diversity and more voices. But I still think in terms of actually diversity of where these people are coming from and they're not all just connected to the same friends and family members, I think that's still where they're really struggling in terms of like, there's still a lot of really good filmmakers out there, I think, that are not getting a chance to even have their script read or get discovered. So I hope that just continues to grow. That was a big part of why I wanted to start that festival many years back, was because these films weren't getting seen and weren't getting discovered, you know. And I know those same filmmakers exist and they're still struggling, you know, in terms of advancing their career and now getting their real films made. I'm one of them, basically, you know, still been going through that struggle. So it's never going to be easy, but I hope that the Hollywood system, I guess, keeps seeing is up and coming filmmakers as a way to find great stories that they can still make money with. You know, I mean, if you think of all the classic movies we all love, they all started as original movies that no one had ever heard of. No one had usually heard of those filmmakers. And I think now things have gotten too safe and are too risk adverse, and they need to start taking some more chances. And I think it'll reward them in the long run and reward everyone, both filmmakers and audience members.
what is Hollywood missing right now that you'd like to see more of?
I think just continually wanting more of new voices, you know, being in the mix, getting to have opportunities to tell their stories. And that means new voices of all kinds. I mean, obviously, Hollywood has had a problem with diversity for a long time, but it's still so hard if you're not connected to have a friend or family member who's in the industry, like to get your film even read or anything seen. You know, there's still so few opportunities and so little investment in up and coming filmmakers. No one wants to take any sort of risk. And I just think that the problem is if they don't ever take any risk, you'll never have anything new discovered. You'll never have that big success. You know, I think the Hollywood in general is playing it way too safe. And I feel like there could be so many cool opportunities made if you maybe, you know, let's say take one less mega big budget studio film and instead, you know, take that money and make 100 really tiny indie films, but are really compelling by talented up and coming filmmakers. I mean, I would love to see the financial like data on which could actually do better. You know, to me, having 100 bets seems like maybe a better chance, right? But I just think no one's even willing to even think about that or have that conversation or take those risks. And I think there's a lot of stories not being discovered, a lot of filmmakers not being given the chance, and hopefully that'll continue to change because I think audiences really are craving fresh stories from unique filmmakers. I mean, when it happens, it's successful. It's always success, and you see that happen, and people get excited about it. And I think quickly they forget that was a success, you know. And so I hope that Hollywood continues to give more opportunities to emerging voices. That's really what I'm hoping for.
Sure. But I mean, you're from the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
You don't have family. You said that's in the industry.
Yeah.
and you don't have an agent or manager, and you have a film coming out that's going to be in theaters and pretty much everywhere where movies are available,
Yeah.
with a name attached.
For sure. Because I think I won the lottery. I was 1 in 1 million. I got super lucky. I worked incredibly hard. It probably took years off my life of all the energy and time I put into it. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying, should it really be this hard? You know, like, is there, what if I had given up, one of those times, I guess, and this film never would have happened. Like, I just think there's got to be a balance. You shouldn't have to kill yourself in order to get a film made when it's a good quality film, right? I would hope that the industry that's making these films would just do a little bit more to try to discover and nurture those kind of potential filmmakers, because of course it's going to be hard. It can't be easy, but it also shouldn't be impossible for almost everyone.
Do you think there's almost sort of like a filmmaking Darwinism where they want to see how much you want it? I know that sounds like sort of like this race to the death or whatever, but
Yeah.
is there a weeding out where they say, oh, because you said something earlier that was great and kind of like lit a light bulb in my head, which was Hollywood doesn't go searching for things. They want it presented to them.
Yeah.
And I thought that, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm definitely still saying that you have to work super hard, and there's lots of people that want to be filmmakers that probably won't ever get there because they don't really have that drive. They don't really have everything they need in there. And I think if you do stick it out, it can happen. But I also do wonder about the filmmakers who didn't get there because they weren't getting that chance or they didn't push just a little bit harder. And I still think that there needs to be a little bit more balance to discovering those emerging filmmakers. And I mean, the worst case is they make a film and it's not a success, but they're doing that already. So why not take risk on a few more up and coming people?